There are those that just want to be left alone, and those that just won't leave them alone. Which one are you? The Ernest Hancock Show.
Hey, we're back here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, just going over some of the news and stuff I just want to share with you because, damn. You know, damn. You know, here, oh. All right, let's start off with Mr. Ben Bernanke. What does he have to say? He's like, no economy fixes from Federal Reserve for now. He's like, yeah, you guys are on your own, but what else does it say? Ripping the lengthy debt negotiations this summer as damaging to the markets and economy, Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke on Friday announced that the Fed wouldn't take any steps at this time to provide a boost, but indicated that they may be considering next month. In a closely watched speech at a Jackson Hole, Wyoming conference, Bernanke criticized the political process that took the United States right up to the brink of defaulting on its debt and lead S&P to downgrade the nation's AAA credit rating. Now, he goes on to say, if you read the whole thing, it's like, okay, we're going to have a 2-day instead of a 1-day in September, and we'll do and think about it, and we'll see what happens. But he's like, yeah, our problems had nothing to do with, our anything else other than Congress didn't extend the debt fast enough, so we got downgraded. It had nothing to do with the fact that we're never going to be able to pay the debt anyway. They're going to inflate their way out of this, or into it, or whatever you want to look at it. Now, let me go over some of this stuff. Okay. Foreclosure gate again. State officials starting to question securitization fail. Now, what's going on here is that I'll just read it and then explain it. I've been wondering when cash-strapped states might look to the apparent failure of mortgage securitizations to adhere to REMIC rules as a possible trigger for tax assessments. That is from Naked Capital. The IRS simply refuses to go there. I was given a pretty close to temporaneous report last year when a lawyer who understood the tax issues contacted the IRS. The enforcement officer who took his call, who was very senior, understood the implications immediately and was very keen. But she reported back later that the question had gone to the White House, and the response was, quote, "We are not going to use tax as a tool of policy." So enforcing statutes is somehow abusive. This is either a deeply internalized Wall Street-centric view of the world or just plain corruption. Take your pick. The IRS can always defend its stance because tax notions of what constitutes a valid transfer don't have to map into the legal treatment. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me tell you what that means. REMIC is a set of laws or a mechanism by which they took these mortgage-backed securities and they put them offshore and they kind of massaged them and they turned your mortgage into a number that then MERS owned and they're trying to say they're the ones that can foreclose, and now they're saying no, they can't, and because they're not, you didn't do the transfer, the papers right, so we didn't get our cut as state, so that's why the Attorney General, he's bringing this stuff up. They kick him off. Why? Because this issue right here, what it means for the IRS and the federal government is as if they were the same thing. They're the bad guys. But the IRS is really like a private corporate. They're just the money collection arm of the Federal Reserve. A lot of people don't understand how that works. They're a private kind of, money collector guy anyway with all kinds of fictitious authority. So what they did is they go, okay, if you do this offshore thing in a certain way, you can avoid taxes. And that's what made these mortgage-backed securities attractive to a lot of people, because you could get a lot of money invested in them because they were shielded from various different taxes with the money that you made from that investment. That was the draw for these. But they had to be done in a certain way. They had to be offshore. They had to be da-da-da-da-da-da. But they didn't really qualify. They just kind of sort of almost kind of on the surface think they maybe kind of did. And within 90 days, they had to actually transfer the note. They had to do. So there's all kinds of just accounting procedures and so on. And now it's all coming unraveled. So here we have some of the attorney generals, like in New York, saying, you know what? Not only did you lie about these securitizations and the value of them and so on, which there is legal recourse in our state for that, doesn't the IRS have some kind of recourse to go after you guys for defrauding of. So what does the White House say? They go, you know what? We're not going to use tax policy to enforce whatever and do because we're not. There is a deal being made, and it comes down to the one thing I keep telling you. It is to take all of this real estate, enormous amounts, consolidate it into $1 billion. You know, I was saying, yeah, it'd be $100 million. He just said, what was it? You got to have $1 billion? You got $1 billion on you? Well, if you got $1 billion laying around, then you can buy up all these assets and then sell it back to the people you ripped off, you know, to begin with. Oh, and by the way, how did the government get these to consolidate to sell? They bought them at $1, 100 cents on the dollar from the very banks that are going to buy them back and then sell them back to you or rent to you. Can you say revolution? I mean, and we're supposed to what? They'll just start it all over again. You know, we'll get the new guy in. Hell, they may even make sure Dr. Ron Paul gets elected just to give the government some credibility so that they can continue to even have a government. You know, and then you have God reaching his hand in and, you know, getting ready to topple the Washington Monument with an earthquake. So then you get into, here comes this comet and dark planet and planet whatever. Oh, man, it just never stops. Okay, so here we have Butler Schaefer. He writes this article. And I remember, I can see why that he would do this article, because we were talking about this last week when we were spending time with him doing the video that we're still working on. And we put up his daughter's, Brittany's up. Hopefully you saw that. It's a great 20-minute piece. Klaatu Barada Nikto. Okay, now why would you... Now, what the heck does that mean? It's from the original, the old, The Day the Earth Stood Still. It was a 50s. It was pretty, you know, well done. It was kind of cool thing. But they had the Keanu Reeves new one. It's basically, hey, look, man, you guys need to... You start to do this nuclear war thing, and now it's like you're not green enough or whatever. You know, the other planets, we're kind of looking... And you get your crap together, we'll just lay waste to all of y'all. Well, what happens is that the foreigner astronaut, I think he was from the Earth, and they took him, and then they made him available to whatever. And he had to say this phrase, Klaatu Barada Nikto, to keep the robot from laying waste to the planet, I think. And the point that Butler's making is that, look, they're already gearing up for this worldwide threat from space. Space alien. We got, you know, even Nobel Prize winning economists coming out saying, oh, yeah, man, you know, if we had an invasion from space, all our problems would go away because the Earth would come together on complete collectivism and self-preservation, and we would just go, the Central Authority knows better than us, and we'll sacrifice. This idea, this concept is coming, and that's one thing that he was, you know, emphasizing. It was an interesting article. Now, this one here, this one, Anonymous, you know, the activist group, hackers, Anonymous claims to publish nude photos of BART spokesman. Now, remember, a couple weeks ago, you know, this is why we started meeting with local law enforcement and so on, and saying, look, man, if you guys start going down this road, you have no idea where your opposition is going to come from, how it's going to manifest itself. Don't be cutting off communications. It gets ugly. Well, the person that claimed that he was the one that thought of and implemented the idea, he got targeted. A member or members of the hacker activist group Anonymous published a series of photos allegedly showing the spokesman for the Bay Area Rapid Transit BART system with his genitals exposed, conveying a simple message in protest. If you're going to be a dick to the public, then I'm sure you don't mind showing your, you know, to the public. Well, this is what happened. The guy that did this, I guess he's, you know, on his, out in cyberspace there are pictures of him out, you know, enjoying himself, whatever. And they got all these pictures. So they just took and they published all this. Now, of course, some of the guys inside Anonymous go, we shouldn't do this because it'd be like gay bashing or something like that. And some of the, yeah, they just did it. You know, it's not, their point is not about that as much as it is about, you want to come after us? Are you sure you want to play this game? Because then they go after the individuals. This is not unexpected, but of course they're doing it as Anonymous. I don't do this kind of thing because I tell you, once you start getting personal, well, they'll start getting personal back. And they're going, oh, all the resources of going after Anonymous. So hopefully they're keeping themselves, you know, insulated from being, you know, taken over. Because You go after them as an individual. Oh, here comes the club. And let's see, is there some other stuff? Yeah, securitization of mortgages. Oh, Buffett. Warren Buffett. I just read this part. The last time he made an investment such as the one was back in 2008 in buying into Bank of America with Goldman Sachs. It is important to remember that Goldman Sachs was bailed out by the taxpayer in what was called the TARP program. Buffett knows that the U.S. taxpayer will bail him out if he is wrong and Bank of America stock goes belly up. See, this is already a done deal, man. It's a done deal. You're going to get screwed, and it's going to be on the front pages, and they're still going to do it. Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.